What's going on, my people? It's time for a late night teaching. We're going to talk about prepositions and definite articles and how they work together, and how they attach themselves to the beginning of words. Okay, I got to say, well, let me just do this. Let me introduce my co-teacher. My co-teacher is none other than Sam Shamoun himself, because he's going to catapult us into this very fast summarized teaching of prepositions and definite articles. So I'm going to shut up. We're going to listen to him for roughly 3 to 4 minutes, and then we're going to dive in.
You see the word in the beginning? Now I'm going to give you Bible Hub. So you're going to have to click on the link. The word is Barashit. Barashit is 2 words. Okay, but let me get you Bible Hub. First, let me show you. Barashit. By or in or with the beginning. The word beginning is Rashit. Rashit. Rashit is the word beginning. Ba Rashit, that preposition ba, can mean in, with, or by the beginning. Okay, here we go. Genesis 1:1. Don't take my word for it. You guys know Hebrew, you can confirm this. Go here, click on that link, BibleHub.com. Read with your own eyes what the Hebrew word is for in the beginning. You see it's 2 words, ba Rashit. Preposition ba, and the word Rashit is beginning or head. So, ba Rashit, check it out. Ba Rashit, that word, that preposition ba Rashit, can mean by, with, in the beginning. Now, why is that beautiful? Watch here. Because this word can be translated ba Rashit as by, with the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And that's how some Jews understood it, by the way, but I'll do that in another section. If you translate the preposition as by, that means God used someone called the beginning to create the heavens and the earth.
Okay, so, I understand where he's getting at. It's a pretty cool concept. It's just not grammatically accurate. So I believe if you're trying to break down the Hebrew, you should be grammatically accurate, especially if you're going to teach something as if it's what we call Peshat, like a plain reading of the text. So here's what he's talking about. He's talking about Bereshit right here. And he was highlighting this preposition. Now you see, give me 1 second, switch back to him. You see here he has ba reshit. Now anybody that is learning Hebrew knows the difference between ba and be. Now he's correct in saying that this preposition, this bet preposition, does indicate that something is in, by, with, at, or among. Okay, but like I said, anybody that's learning Hebrew, they know the difference between ba and be. And we're going to dive into that right now. So I'm going to grab this, and please give me a second as I spell this out. Excuse my handwriting. Okay, so let me put the dagesh there. All right, so you got the same thing right here as you got right here. Mine's just very sloppy, okay? But you have bereshit. Now, the preposition, sure enough, by, in, with, at, or among. Okay, it's like I say, well, I heard it from somebody else, but the best translation is still a commentary, because the translator has the opportunity to supply whatever English word within the parameters of the Hebrew text he wants to. Okay, so in, with, by, at, or among, that's the preposition be, and he's right when he's talking about the reshit, comes from the head of something, or the beginning. So in beginning, that's what we know so far. Now, a definite article, all definite article is in the English language, your definite article would be the. So it's not just anything, like if a boy threw the ball, it's not just any ball. He didn't throw a ball, he threw the ball. And that in the Hebrew is going to be your hey. So what I just highlighted here, this hey, is the preposition, but it's not only the not excuse me, not the preposition, but the definite article. But it's not only the preposition, excuse me, I keep saying preposition. It's not only the definite article that gets attached to the front of the word, it also comes with the patach and this degesh that goes in the first radical of the word. Excuse me, the first consonant of the word. So here you have and the Spirit of God hovered over the face of not a water, not some Nile or some stream somewhere, hovered over the face of the waters. So there's a definite article. You got al pene hamaim, over face. Ha is the definite article for the. Then you got mime, which is waters. So with that being said, you see where the hay is right here. All right. Here, there is no hay. But don't be alarmed because sometimes, well, anytime there is a preposition and a definite article, there won't be a hay. Okay, so where you would expect to see, let me get my pen back out, where you would expect to see a ha right here, be ha reshit, that's not what you have. You have be reshit. So in Hebrew, when it has a preposition and the noun is a definite article, we get what's called a apocopating hay or a disappearing hay. So what happens is the hay disappears. How do I get this hay to disappear? Okay. The hay disappears. The patach goes under the preposition. Okay. So instead of bereshit, if there was a definite article, you would get bereshit. But here's the problem. This resh right here is what's called a guttural. And gutturals can't have a degesh. Remember down here, I told you that it's not only the definite article, it gets a patach, which is the line under it, and it gets a degesh in the first consonant of the word. So gutturals, now we're back up here, gutturals can't get the degesh. They reject the degesh. And when they reject the degesh, what happens to the degesh is it causes lengthening to the vowel. Okay. So you wouldn't have a degesh, you would have it's not letting me delete that. There we go. Change this back to red. Instead of a patach, you would have a kametz. So it looks something like this, ba reshit. So this would literally be in the beginning, ba reshit. However, we don't have that here. There is no definite article here. This gets a standard preposition. There's no signs or anything of a definite article, which is why I say anybody that knows Hebrew knows the difference between ba and be. There's a big difference. So this, the first two words, as Sam would put it, even though this is one word, it becomes one word. But either way, this word right here, be leshit, there's no definite article. So this is a traditional translation. It's not necessarily a literal translation. So rather than doing in the beginning, what the grammar actually reads is in a beginning. Excuse my A. It looks like the those Gothic A's, but it would be in a beginning. God created the heaven and the earth. Now, who was it? Rashi and Ibn Ezra, they seen this too. So rather than the traditional interpretation of in the beginning, and rather than having like an indefinite in a beginning, they translated it as when God began to create. So point of it, there is no definite article in Bereshit. Since there is no definite article in Bereshit, all the rest of what he's talking about cannot apply, because he's going to take the Bereshit and he's going to turn it into with the beginning, and then he's going to assign that the beginning to Jesus. Now, that's a really cool midrash, and you heard him say even some rabbis thought this. Unfortunately, if you don't know how to read the rabbis, you can walk away confused, because the rabbis have a system of hermeneutic, meaning they exegete the text according to their system. Okay, it's not systematic theology like we're used to in the West, or like Catholics are used to, like Baptists or Protestants are used to, or Eastern Orthodox. We're used to systematic theology. The Peshat of every rabbi is going to be in the beginning, or when God began to create. The Midrash is what he's talking about. It's not the rabbi's literal interpretation of the text. It's a Midrash.
So you can translate Barashit and ask any Jew. So I don't think I'm making it up. You can translate it by the beginning. By the beginning, God created heavens and the earth, or with the beginning. That means if you translate it that way, there's someone called the beginning that God.
Okay, and then he goes on to give his midrash, which his interpretation, which is okay. You know what I'm saying? If you're preaching a sermon or something like that, and you want to capitalize on God using the beginning, like, Jesus is the beginning, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But teaching it as if that's what the Bible says, that's where you like, ain't really what the Bible says, bro. It says in a beginning. If you want to stick with tradition, it says in the beginning. If you want to lean more on the grammar, you can say when God began to create. That's all I got. Toda reba.